大家好，欢迎来到今天我们的网络讲座。我的名字是黄子峰，我是华埠服务中心的这个商业顾问。那这里今天有我们的经理 John Lin，是我们的华埠服务这个经理。然后下一个呢，我们有Alan 程，他就是我们的这个免税报税的这个嗯协调员，还有也是我们的这个呃顾问。然后下一个有我们这个 Eddie Lee，他是我们的这个也是我们的协调员，所以欢迎他们给他们的呃 applause，大家谢谢谢谢。So yeah, everyone, I just introduced our team. We have me. I'm the business counselor at Chinatown Service Center. We have John Lin. He's our community economic development manager, and we have Eddie Lee. He is our coordinator, and we have Alan Chung. He is our VITA coordinator and our financial advisor. And then today we have a great guest from TMC Community Capital. Her name is Natalie Del Toro. So another welcome to her actually. So another welcome. So I'm gonna get started on introducing our companies or our programs, what we offer. So here at Community Economic Development, we have a lot of programs that help you just turn your business dreams into reality. 那在我们华埠服务中心这里呢，我们有很多这些可以帮你实现你的这个创业梦想的。等一下，大家把这个拉低一点。OK，so 第一个呢，我们有这个小型企业辅助计划。这个小型企业辅助计划就是可以帮你们实现你的这个商业梦想。如果说你们是想做一个生意，不知道下一步是怎么样，或者你们是有一个生意，突然间有了什么问题，也不知道应该要怎么办，你们也可以在这个地方跟我们约个时间，因为我们可以做些1对1的这个咨询，完全都是免费。想做一个商业计划这些都是一个免费的这个东西。下一个我们有这个个人理财部门，那这个呢就是可以帮助您提高理财方面的知识，比如去帮你做一个那个生涯规划让你去就是提供一些这些课程，让你怎么学会好像做那个存款然后对那个收入更加了解，然后帮你们申请一些福利，让您对信用方面更加了解。然后这一个呢，我们有这个就是我们的免费报税我们的免费报税就是如果你的收入是低收入呢，通常如果是收入是6万块以下呢，通常我们就会帮你去报这个税。然后我们有这个低收入那个收入税抵免，还有这个儿童税收入。如果你们是合格拿这个呢，我们就是帮你报税的时候会自动帮你去申请。那这里呢，大家可以看到我们的就是我们的这个现在小企业的这个培训我们剩下还有几个这些课，如果你们还没有去登记呢，就请去登记上。So hey everyone, so this is our entrepreneur training series, and this is just the schedule that's here right now. And if you guys haven't signed up for the rest of the classes, I'm putting into the chat right now the link you guys can go to sign up for it, and then just sign up if you guys are interested. So 大家，我刚才也在那个聊天室里头把我们就可以如果要登记其他的这些课程呢，就是可以去我刚才在那个聊天室里头放的那个 link，请压一下，你们就可以去登记。So 现在我们就先开始一下我们今天的讲座，就是说那些小企业怎么获得这些资金。So everyone, today I'm going to get started just on the first part of our workshop on how just ways small businesses access capital. So everyone, we can see that there's a few ways listed on the screen right now. And I'm going to Chinese real quick to let everyone know. I'm just going to go through English and in Chinese to get through the portions. So 大家呢，我今天就会先说英文，然后说中文，然后一个说下去。然后说完这部分呢，就会到 Natalie 给大家说这些贷款人呢会通常是要找些什么？如果你去想借些钱的时候。So everyone, yeah, I'm going to run through it in English, Chinese, and then after I'm done with this portion of the workshop, we're going to hand it over to Natalie, and she's going to let everyone know what exactly lenders are looking for when it comes to, acquiring these specific loans. So the first way we can look at accessing capital is a small business loan, and these are things owners can apply for. They can apply for loans from banks, credit unions, online lenders, and these loans might be like secured, which might require like collateral, or it might be unsecured and it's just going to be based off your own credit worthiness. And they'll also provide a lump sum of money that's repaid over a specific or a fixed term. So 第一个呢，这个就是我们的小企业贷款。这个小企业贷款就是说，你们这些小企业开小企业的这些人呢，可以去做这个贷款，从这些银行啊，从这些信用社啊，从这些在线贷方啊，那这些贷款呢是通常可以。是担保的，如果是担保的呢，就是一定要需要一个抵押品的。如果有些呢，就是无抵押的，无抵押呢就是不用那个抵押品，只是看你的这个信用是多好。那看了这两个以后呢，他们就可以给你一批钱，然后这一批钱呢，就是可以过一个固定的期限来还的。So next one, we have business line of credit. With the business line of credit, this is really a line of credit that allows you to access funds as needed up to like a certain credit amount, and interest is only charged on amount borrowed, and it can be a flexible way for you to manage cash flow and cover your short-term expenses. So 下一个就是我们的这个设定信贷额度。这个就是有一点像一个信用卡，可是呢，这个就会给你一个信贷额度，那就是看你这个信贷额度有多少。然后这个信贷额度有多少呢？就是看你这个信用。然后呢，那个信用就是看你借了多少钱，然后这个可以是一个灵活的方法来帮你管理这个现金流，就是包一下那些短期的这些费用。And then next one we have business credit cards. And with the business credit cards, it's a business credit card, it's like a credit card, but it's for businesses. And so you guys, business owners, you guys can apply for these kind of credit cards. Specifically, they're really designed for business expenses, and these kind of cards, they give you like a revolving line of credit, and which allows your business to make purchases, pay off the balance over time while earning rewards or getting cash back. And 下一个就是我们有一个生意信用卡，就是像个信用卡，可是就是给你的生意的，所以你要有生意有 business license 才可以拿到这个信用卡。通常拿到这个信用卡是专门用在这些给费用上面的这部分的，然后它就会给你一个循环的信用额度，那就让这个生意来买东西啊，或者是还债啊，然后还可以就一边做这个的时候呢，还可以拿一些奖励或者一些返现。And the next one we have small business grants. Small business grants are probably the best ones we have on the list, and it's the most sought after since it's basically getting a lump sum of money which you don't have to pay back, and then it's basically free. It's usually from like government sources. There might be private ones. There's a lot of different sources, but yeah, these are the ones where you can get a lump sum of money, but you wouldn't have to pay them back. 所以接下一个呢，就是我们的这个小企业补助金，那可能全部人都是想要有这一个，因为有的这一个呢，你拿到这批钱呢，你看你这个钱就是不用还的，那就是好像送你一批钱来做你要做的这些事，通常有时候是那个加州给的，还是很多不同的方法去可以拿得到。And then next one. We have crowdfunding, and crowdfunding is basically just asking a bunch of people and then they're all going to give you a little bit at a time. So it's a bunch of it, and then it adds up to be a lot of money. And there's a lot of different kinds of crowdfunding platforms. And when you're really doing these crowdfunding platforms, you want to keep in mind to offer like an appealing product, service, or an idea to incentivize people to donate. 所以这个下一个我们刚才说用英文说就是那个众筹，那就是小企业可以用这些众筹这些平台呢来拿到很多资金，好像就是呢在这个平台上面，就是很多人看到你这个东西，他们就很多不同人可能就每一个人给你一点点，可是这加起来是很多。有时候做这个时候，你就想给人家看到你做的这个东西是有多好。And then next one we have angel investors and venture capital. With this, you're just really getting angel investors and venture capitalists. This is more geared towards startup, high growth potential businesses. And if you're seeking funding from angel investors or venture capitalists, they usually provide capital in exchange for your equity or a stake in a business, and they'll often give you like expertise and guidance as well. So 这个就是天使投资人和风险投资，那这些人呢，通常这种的方法是给那些刚开始的这些小企业，或者是那些成长的这个潜力企业，那通常他们就会给你就是要这些钱，可是他们呢，就是会给你们一些首都，可是他们就要换一些那个企业的股权或股份。 And then 下一个就是friends and family. Friends and family, yeah, just I'm asking your friends and family, can you give me a loan? Can you give me like it usually comes like the form of a loan, a gift, it's like an investment. It really depends on your relationship with the said person. So 朋友或家人呢，通常你做这个事就是从你这个朋友或家人来拿一批钱。那拿一批钱呢，就是可以是一个借这个钱给你，是送这个钱给你，或者他们在投资，就是看你们两个人的关系是怎么样。And then microloans are a lot like these small business loans, but in the sense of what we're talking is microloans are more geared towards underserved communities, and sometimes maybe when you're getting like a loan from a bank, it might be like only big loans only, but with the microloans, it's usually like smaller amount, and they're going to be more like listening to your story and how like you're trying to get things started. So yeah, it's usually like a smaller loan, and it's in like underserved communities. So 最后一个呢，就是小额贷款。这个小额贷款通常是从这些这些信贷机构来的，通常就是给这个利息是很低的，然后通常是在那些服务不足的这些社区才有的。那通常好像有时候跟第一个呢有的区别就是好像说，是个银行有时候呢就是去那个地方建的那个。只会借你一些大一点的，或者不听你的故事啊，你这个生意是想怎么做的？可是小额贷款呢，就是不同，通常是小一点，然后听一下你的故事，真的就是跟你一对一来做一下。那说到这里呢，我也想说一下，现在我们的华埠服务中心，我们也有我们自己的这个贷款计划，所以如果你们现在是对这方面是有一点兴趣呢，就跟我打个电话，约个时间，我们就可以多说一点。But actually, guys, and then these are all the ways we can really access the capital. And with any of these, if you guys have any questions, hit me contact me, and then we can set up a time, and then we can figure out which one's the best for you, and how you can actually get access to each of these, and then work on the next few steps. So 大家我们这些就是大概就是可以拿到这个资金的方法。如果你们对哪一个有兴趣呢，不理解还是想去做呢，就不跟我打个电话约个时间，我就可以帮你们就是一步一步去做到。So 现在呢，我就想introduce 我们的 Natalie Del Toro，她就是从 TMC Community Capital 这个地方做的。她今天就会给我们大家更教我们就是去做这个贷款的时候，他们真正是想找什么，在看什么，所以我们就可以帮你做到是一个很成功的最大成功的那个可能性。So Natalie, I just introduced you in Chinese, but feel free to introduce yourself and everything you're about to say.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Like Johnny was saying, my name is Natalie. I work for TMC Community Capital. I'll be giving a presentation here in English, and then we'll be translating it in Chinese on what lenders look for when we're applying for a small business microloan, or any loan really. But in terms of what we'll cover, there's referred to as the 5 C's. So I'll cover that first, and along with a little bit about our own company organization.
他就是刚才介绍一下自己，然后就说我们今天准备要说的就是贷款人呢是喜欢要看些什么。那他最大的东西要说的今天呢就是贷款，就是看的时候这个5个 C's， 他说的这些方面的东西。说完这个以后呢，他就会说一下他们这个 TMC Community Capital 他们的有的这些服务。
So before that, I will say, so we're a nonprofit CDFI. That stands for Community Development Financial Institution. And what these institutions, our mission is to help small businesses in underserved communities. So our target group are those small businesses who have a hard time going through traditional banks for different reasons, whether they be the documents that they ask for, credit, or maybe they don't accept ITIN, which we do.
他们这个服务就是专门是帮那些资源不足的这些小企业在加州的，然后就是也就是想帮他做这个寸金融稳定的这些，就是有时候好像如果你去一些银行，你就是借不了钱，那通常呢他们这部分就可以帮你们做到。
Okay. And so a little bit about us first. So we, like I mentioned, our CDFI, we offer microloans of $5,000 to $50,000 to small businesses in the state of California. affordable rates, which will go more in depth with also no hidden fees, and the application is all online with a turnaround time of about 5 to 10 business days.
OK，他们就是做的这些这些小 loans， 这些小贷款计划的，然后帮这些小企业在加州通常是5000块钱到5万块钱，然后呢，他们的这些呢是做这些负担得起的这些也有规定利率的贷款也有无隐藏的这些费用。通常呢，他们就是也是有这个很容易在网上登记的，也这个快速审批。And what was the turnaround time you just said?
It's 5 to 10 days.
OK， 所以你们申请以后呢，就是通常是大概5到10天，他们就会回复你的。
So besides our loan, we also create educational content where we create videos from our own clients on like their stories, what barriers they experience, so that you can also learn how to overcome these barriers through their own business.
那他们呢也有很多就是他们自己的那个教育内容的东西，好像他们就有一个 YouTube 叫 Beyond the Hustle。那在这个上面，他就会说因为他们有很多这些客户有就是怎么错过的他们的那些挑战，他们的故事，他们就把它说出来，所以你也可以看到，你们也可以做得到。
And so we're gonna start covering first, like I mentioned, the 5 C's of credit. This is what any lender is going to look for when you apply for a microloan or just a loan in general. They might have different standards, but they'll be looking at the 5 C's in a maybe different way. So we'll go in depth with each one.
那你每次想去做这些贷款、想借钱的时候呢，他每个呢，这是谁这个贷方都会看这5个 C's， 就是你们在这个上面这个性格、能力、抵押品、收度和那个条件，可能他们每一个这个贷方看的就是哪一个，他们找的完成的东西可能不一样，可是最后呢，还是会看这5个 C's。
And so we'll start off with the first one. This is a very important one. Maybe it's the one that you guys are most familiar with. It's character. So this is when a lender is trying to measure or have a better understanding of so the individual's willingness to repay the debt.
那这个呢，就是那个贷款人呢，就是第一个，就是我们现在看的就是这个性格。性格呢，就是第一个就是我们这个上面写这个 willingness to repay debt， 意思就是看你就是你想不想还这个钱，你能不能还这个钱，他们就是看你这部分。OK。
So the 2 ways that that this is measured, one is probably what many of you are familiar with, is the credit score. So everybody usually has a credit score that is measured through 3 different agencies, which will go in depth of what that's actually made out of. But all lenders will typically have to check credit to see your history, see what accounts you have, and get a better understanding of you as an individual.
Okay, so 那他们是怎么量你想不想还这个钱，你有没有可能还这个钱呢？那通常就是看这2个东西，这2个东西就是第一个就是看你这个信用的这个分数然后这个信用分数通常是有3个部门的，等一下他就会说多一点。第二个呢，他们就会看你这个税务历史。然后就看你有什么这些资料，他们可以查得出来什么财政这些东西，你的生意银行就是其他的这些东西。
And the second will be the tax history. And so this will actually be to inform us how formalized your business is, or how much experience you have already operating. And with that, what I mean is, are you already doing your taxes for the business? Do you have the Schedule C? Do you have the licenses available? So we want to be able to see that you have these documents already as kind of a history of your business, how long you've been operating, which will tell us more about you, but also the business.
OK， 所以这个就是我刚才跳了一下，可是他就是说这个税务历史的。那这个税务历史呢，他们就是想看你这个形式化的有多少，好像说你们的这个已经有这个商业这个执照了，有没有这个 Schedule C 这些东西有什么这个财政的这些东西，看你在这个行业里头有多少经验。你这个生意开了有多久？你在行业做了有多久？就是全部这些东西呢，他也会在这个税务历史这方面都会去看一次的。
And so credit score. I'm gonna talk a little bit about many people know the number but don't really know how it's computed. So I want to talk a little bit about that. So if here you'll see like a circle of the different percentage of how your credit score is, what it's composed of. First off, the biggest percentage is going to be 35%, and that 35% is payment history. So that is just when we want to look at the different accounts you have and if you were on time for the payments or if there was late payments.
So 它这部分呢，就是说，OK，我们可能每一个人呢都知道这个信用这个分数是好像500啊、600啊、700啊，我们知道这个分数是多少。可是这个分数是怎么算的呢？他们就有这个东西给你们看。好像第一个呢就是35%，这个35%就是你们的这个信用纪律。就是看你们通常是还债是怎么还的。Actually, could you repeat like the payment history, like the details of it a little more?
Yeah, so payment history is basically your entire credit, what accounts you have open, meaning what credit cards do you have, what if you have any loans taken out, if you have any mortgages. And we want to look at from those monthly payments, are you making them on time? Are you behind on any? Are you charged off on not making them? That is a big portion of how your credit score might be going up or down.
所以呢，这30%就是很大部分就是看你有什么就是这些账户，好像你是不是在买了一个屋子啊？那你每个月还的这个钱准不准时啊？你是不是开了一个信用卡还的那个钱准不准时啊？就是最后就是看你有多少个账户还起来这个准不准时这部分。And I was wondering, can I stay on this Chinese slide?
Yeah.
Are you good with it? Okay.
And then 30%, which is the second biggest, is going to be the debt to credit utilization. This term is what we refer to how much you have in percentage for your revolving credit available. So say if I have a credit card that is my limit on there is 2,000, if I'm currently at a balance where I'm using it 1,900, I don't have much credit available. So my debt to credit utilization rate will be very low. Maybe I only have 10% left, 5%. Typically, lenders want to know that you're not relying on credit and that you have credit available to use. You're not using it up too much. So a higher debt to credit utilization, more credit available open, speaks better to your credit.
So 它的这个下一个最大就是30%，是看你这个债信利用率。那这个债信利用率呢，就是说 ，OK， 它可以让你借5000块钱，可是就是看你可以借5000块钱，可是他们就是看你真正的是在借多少。所以有时候他们如果好像说 ，OK， 我是可以借5000块钱的，那我一天到晚在借着4000块钱，那一天到晚要还4000块钱，那他们看到这个就是不好。所以如果你好像说能借5000块钱，可是你只一天到晚你的这个欠的钱只是1000块钱、2000块钱，越少是好过多，所以只是在用这个2000块钱这个 credit limit 是好过用好像4000块钱这个 credit limit， 如果总共是5000块钱，这个就是那个债信那个利用率。OK。
Yeah, and the other one is going to be 15%. That is credit history. That just it's very straightforward. How long have you been building credit? When did you first open a credit card? How many years do you have building your credit?
OK，这个就是信用纪律。信用纪律就是看就是你有信用有了多少，你开这个信用卡有了多少年啦，你借钱就是你的这个历史有信用。
And the last two is going to be new credit, which refers to, I'm sure you all guys are aware if you've ever applied for a credit card or a loan, whenever you apply and you get a hard pull on your credit from the lender, it typically pulls your points down a little bit. So we just want to see whenever you basically pull your credit, that's going to affect your credit score. And then the last one is just credit mix. So seeing that you have different types of credit, whether it be loans, credit cards, mortgage, what different accounts do you have?
OK， so 它呢就是第4，就是那个新的信贷。就是看你就是每次好像说你如果要开一个新的那个信用卡，他们就是要拿你的这个信用资料嘛。那每次他们拿你那个信用资料抽这个资料出来呢，他们可以看得到的。那他们就是说每次做这个呢有做了几次。最后那个呢就是那个信用组合，信用组合就是看你全部这个信用是哪里来的？几个是好像给房租的那个房地产的这个钱呢？给那个欠车的这个钱呢？那个信用卡的这个钱呢？那就是看你有多少不同的这个信用组合。
Yeah. And so this is what your credit score is composed of. Obviously, it's going to be impacted differently for every individual. If you are unsure of what your credit looks like, you can get a free report on that link there. Once a year, it's free. And you might also be able to use through like apps like Credit Karma to get your free scores as well on there. I'm sure you guys are aware that there's 3 different agencies, which might differ in number by a little bit, which is just Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian.
它就是说，那每个有这个3个不同的部门，我们可以看到在这个边这里，这个就是有 Equifax, TransUnion 和 Experian。
And so every lender might not be using all 3. Some will only be using maybe 1 or maybe 2 of those. If they just have a preference. Like for TMC Community Capital, we only check your Experian credit score.
那每一个银行呢，可能就看的那个呢，就可能不一样。有一些可能会用 Equifax， 有一些可能会用 TransUnion 和 Experian， 就是每一个都不同。那好像 TMC Community Capital，which one are you guys most Experian？ 那好像 TMC Community Capital 他们就最喜欢看的那个就是 Equifax，I'm Experian。
And so the FICO range, I'm sure you're aware, the lowest credit score you can have is 300 and the highest is 850. When you apply for a loan, different lenders are going to have requirements. Typically, there's going to be some lenders that are more strict or banked where they say anybody that has a score of 650 or below can apply. There's going to be other ones who are maybe a little bit more flexible and lenient. So each lender's going to have a different requirement when it comes to credit score.
那你们可以看到这个号码，就是好像最低的就是300，最高的就是850。那就是很多的那些就是贷款人呢，可能有时候就是好像说是很严格的，好像说如果低过650就不能，我们就不会借给你。可是有些就可能会灵活一点，就是说 OK， 如果是少过650，他们就会听一下为什么，听一下这个故事出来，这也可能会借给你。
We at TMC Community Capital don't have a minimum FICO score, so anybody can apply. I'll go more in depth about how we actually check credit later, but like I mentioned, whenever you go to lender, just make sure you are aware of what their minimum, if they have a minimum FICO score, because if not, they're just going to affect your credit when maybe you can't even apply with them.
那 TMC Capital 他们这里呢，就是没有一个最低的这个FICO 这个号码的，所以呢，他们等一下就会说一些多一点，他们要就是看一些什么。可是呢，每一个呢就可能是有一些不同的，所以你们吃之前要把这个了解出来。
Yeah, so that's credit. And then the second section, like I mentioned, is just your experience in the industry, but also your business. So we just want to know as lenders, how informed are you in your own business? How much experience you have? How long have you been operating? One thing that's very important is to also count the time that you operated your business before you formalize. So I've just come across a lot of clients who maybe they turn into an LLC and they don't count the time they ran as a sole prop. Please also include that time as your operation because you were still making revenue, and this is experience that a lender can take into consideration as well.
那他们这里就是看到，就是说他们会问些什么东西。那第一个呢，就是你们的这个业务概述和数据。那第一个呢，就是会看你在这个行业里头有多少经验。然后第二个呢，就是说你们在这个生意做了有多久。然后最后呢，就是看你们在这个信用里头有什么不好的东西，好像在那个金融，好像如果说你们有时候忘了给钱呢，这些东西啊，你们就是要解释一下。然后他就是说，有些人呢，好像说开始时候是做那个私人的这种生意，可是慢慢的变成是做 LLC， 那他们有时候就不会把这个时间也算进去。所以你们如果是好像说 OK， 一部分是做那个 sole proprietorship， 就是私人的，然后变了那个 LLC， 就是2年3年，你要把他们2个都要加起来的。
And then part of also when you're applying is to just address any issues that you may have on your credit. So if before you applied, you checked your credit and you see maybe that you had 2 late payments sometime last year in the month, just be upfront with any lender because they're going to pull credit, like I mentioned. And if they see this, it's going to be an immediate denial. So in terms of credit financials, if you know something might be an issue, be upfront with them so you can avoid being affected either with your credit score or maybe they can find another lender that is better fit for what you're looking for.
对，所以还有就是刚才那个最后一个呢，就是说，如果他们看到你就是看你的这些资料的时候，看到你有哪一些方面好像忘了给钱呐、就是 or late payment，就是给钱给晚了，这些原因你要解释出来，然后就是他们都是这部分都会看一下，他们会看很多的，所以这个一定要有个解释。
And then another portion that is very important when you apply is to know how you're going to be using those loan funds. So any lender is going to want to get a breakdown of what you plan to use the loan for, whether it be for inventory, equipment to your business, to refinance higher interest debt, or for to hire an employee. We want you to come to us with a list of what exactly you want to use maybe the 20K for, and how you know that it is going to help your business, because a loan should be an investment to your own business that you know is going to help you in the long run.
所以，那你去拿这个钱的时候，他们就第二个会要问的东西就是说，OK，你拿的这个钱呢，那个资金会是怎么用的？你们应该去之前呢，就是有一个分节，就是一个都写出来，好像说你们要用来买货啊，要给人工啊，买设备啊，做这些东西啊，你都要写出来。然后他会怎么帮得了你的生意呢？你也要有这个解释的。所以就是因为这个钱呢，就是拿到这批钱呢，是投资来是怎么可以帮到你的生意做得更好。所以你就是去的时候呢，就是要把每一个去用的方法是会怎么用的呢，要写出来，然后会怎么帮到你的生意长得更好啊，这些东西啊，你都是要解释出来。
Yeah, and one other thing is, in cases where you have a bigger project and additional funds may be needed, say you are moving into a brick and mortar location and it's going to cost you 60,000 to move in. So lenders like us, our largest loan we can give out is 50K. We would want to see where is the rest of the funding is going to be secured, whether it be from your own savings, through maybe a family and friends investment. So we just want to see proof that you've secured this other additional funding. If not, it might be a better fit that we refer you to another lender that can do up to 60K higher amounts.
那如果你是要拿这些资金呢，好像说在 TMC 呢，他们这个地方最多会给你5万块的。那他们给你这个5万块呢，可是如果好像说你需要8万块，那他们就是你要给他们看这个其他的这个3万块呢是从哪里来的。那拿到之后呢，你们要给他们一个担保资金证明，就是给人说 OK，其他的这个3万块呢，我们是从这个地方拿得到的。所以呢，如果你们是拿不到，他们就可能会就是介绍你去一个其他的地方，是可以给到你这个8万块的。
Okay. And now we are going to talk about the second C. So second C is capacity, and it is probably the most important and what lenders look at the most when they make a decision. And that's just the ability to repay debt, which is measured through financials.
那第二个，这个就是我们这个第二个 C， 就是 capacity， 那这个就是能力，这个能力可能就是是最重要的一个东西来的。那这个就是看你有没有这个能力来还这个债。
Yeah. So there's two cases. The first one is going to be for businesses that have already been operating. So if you're operating for 3 years and you want to apply for a loan, any lender is going to want to look at the cash flow of your business. So how much are you bringing into revenue versus how much are you withdrawing with maybe your expenses? We want to get a better understanding if you have the capacity, the ability to repay and include this debt into your business without it hurting your business.
那一个很重要，他们做这个时候看的就是好像看你这个钱是怎么流的，什么进怎么出的。好像如果说你们的这个生意已经做了大概有超过3年的了，他们就会看你这个收入是有多少，钱有多少进，然后钱有多少出，好像你们有多少费用。那他们就是看这个来就是估计一下你能不能还，有没有这个能力来还这个钱。
And then it's going to be for businesses that maybe haven't started, they're a startup, so they haven't been making revenue. So how can this be measured? It would be with projections. So projections is a sheet that is created with a counselor on your own, where you know your business after you did a business plan, and you are estimating how much you believe you're going to make in the first 2 years of your business. This would be referred to as a projection-based loan.
Okay. So 这个下一个呢，这个就是 projection， 这个就是预测的。那第一部分呢，就是说，如果你这个生意是已经有3年、5年 whatever，right？ 所以那这个呢，就是我们就是刚才说那个钱怎么进怎么出。最后呢，这个就是说，如果你们是还没开始，就是准备开始这种生意呢，他们就一定要你做一个这个 projections， 这个就是预测。那这个预测呢，你就是他们要做一个，就是越详细的是越好。就是看你就是以后那个钱是怎么进怎么出，就是要估计一下做一个预测，然后他们通常也会看你有一个这个商业计划的，也就是现在就想说一下，如果你们没有这个商业计划或者不会做这些预测，你就过来打个电话，跟我们约个时间，可以帮你们就把这个也做出来。
And so how this is measured exactly, this is more for like the cash flow of the business that have already been operating is with these 3 different financials. These are the most common and what typically any lender is going to ask for: tax returns, a profit and loss statement, and bank statements.
那他们通常会看些什么，会找些什么呢？那就是这3样很重要的。第一个就是你们的这个报税单，第二个就是那个盈亏，还有最后那个就是那些银行账单。
So first one, tax returns. What we're looking for in this document is if your business ended in a net loss, we would need to get an explanation why. If so, one-time expenses, so we can actually add back into the cash flow of your business if, for instance, maybe there was a fire at your restaurant. Obviously, that's not an occasion that's going to happen every year. It happened one time, so we can add it back into as not a loss, basically.
For that fire one, so if they had a fire, you would add that in. Could you actually tell me that again?
We would be able to, so in the taxes, it would be seen as minus expenses, so it would be a loss. But we would be able to add it back into the revenue because it's not going to be happening every year. It's just happened that year, so it's not something that we can really consider as an expense.
Okay. So 第一个呢，他们就会看的就是你们的报税单。那第一个呢，就是报税单里头的呢，他们就如果看到你们是一个亏损的东西呢，那你就一定要有个原因啊，为什么这样的事会发生？那第二个呢，就是好像如果有这些一次性的这个费用，好像突然间你们有一个什么大的事情发生了，那所以搞到你们所以那个钱是一个很大的费用。他们如果看到这个的时候呢，有时候会把这个不是当一个费用，是把它重新加进去，是当是赚的钱，因为不会是每次会发生的东西。
Yeah. And then the last one is going to be a breakdown of ownership. It's just so we can see, it's typically for corporations, but seeing who owns the businesses, percentages of it. Tax returns, every lender is going to have it's going to be significant to a certain percentage for every lender, because some are going to depend more on it versus others are not. And what I mean by that is and for TMC Community Capital, we don't lean towards too much for this one because we know that a lot of clients don't report their true revenue into the business because they don't want to pay taxes.
OK， 所以这个最后一个呢，就是那个所有权明细，就是说 OK， 如果说你们是个大公司，那有几个大老板，那这个分下来是几个，好像这个是几个是他的，多少是你的，多少是我的，那这个40%、50%、60%啊，这样的加起来，那所以他们就想看到这个，所以他们就知道那个钱是往哪里走的，在看这个报税单的时候。那好像说，有时候他们好像 TMC Community Capital，他们这里有时候也不会太理这部方面，因为有时候看到呢，因为知道开生意的这些人有时候报税的时候呢是想报少一点，因为想给少一点这个税的钱嘛。
And then the profit and loss statement is it typically shows the same thing as taxes, or just how much you made in revenue, the expenses. But we typically use a profit and loss statements to compare how true are these numbers that you stated to the actual money that we are seeing in your bank statements. If we see that maybe you reported a lot more revenue in your profit and loss statement, but you're not making that money a month in your bank statement, we kind of have to ask ourselves, well, where's the rest of this money that you say you're making? Maybe that's why we ask the question of, are you keeping some of the revenue making in cash and not depositing it? Or maybe you have other platforms that you're using where you only keep it there and don't deposit into your bank.
所以呢，下一个这个就是他们会看，this is profit and loss, right? OK，so 那个盈亏，那盈亏呢，他们就是看好像说，OK，你给他们说我赚的是这么多钱，可是他们就会看你写的这些，好像你们的这个银行账单啊这些东西来真正的看你说的这些事是不是真的，他们就会用你们的这些银行账单啊这些东西来证明一下的，好像说如果你说 OK，我赚了5万，我用了4万，就是乱说一些号码，那如果是这样呢，他们就会看你这个银行账单来确定一下你说的这些是不是真的。
Yeah. And then the most important document would be the bank statements. This is what typically we are able to see the cash flow of your business, true numbers. So that's why we always say deposit all the revenue making into your bank, because that's how we can actually guarantee that you're making this revenue. It's not somewhere that we can take a stated number. So for this one, we're looking at the cash flow. What that means is we're looking at how much you're depositing versus how much you're withdrawing out. If you're withdrawing more than depositing, that's obviously not going to look too great, because it's going to just slowly show that your bank account is draining money as you go.
这个下一个就是很重要的这一个呢，就是你们的这个银行账单。那第一个呢，就是看你这个现金流是那个存款、取款和转账的这方面，所以呢，他们就可以看到这个，就可以拿到很多，就理解你们的资料了。好像说，如果你们的那个取款多过你们的存款，看起来呢，当然就不是那么好嘛，这个就看得到你们的生意是快不行了，或者是再缺钱的意思，不是说快不行了。
And another thing we look at are the ending balances. So if you're ending in a negative balance, that doesn't look too great either. We want to be able to see that you have some sort of cushion of money left there. That's going to be considered of what you can like pay back for the loan, or just, you know, you're not withdrawing all the money. Another thing is non-sufficient funds. So seeing overdraft fees, it's not also very great. Make sure it just might say that you need help maybe with cash management. So keeping a lookout for those items.
那下一个呢，他们就会看你们的那个期末余额。这个期末余额呢，就是看你就是每一个月剩下有多少钱。如果每一个月你们在那个银行账单剩的那个钱少过0呢，那当然看起来不好，因为根本不够钱来还这个债。那下一个呢，这个 NSF 就是说你们的钱不够，有时候你想买个东西，然后去到你那个银行说哦，你这个钱不够，那每次看到你有这个 NSF 这个在你们的一个银行账单跳出来呢，那就是个很不好的。
Then another one is if we see large deposits coming into your bank, whether it be maybe another loan, a grant that you receive, we will just want to know when you got this, what you used it for. If it was a loan, we also have to go into consider that payment that you're making into your expenses, because it's something that you're going to be paying monthly.
那下一个呢，这个就是你们的这个，如果做个这个贷款啊，或者这些补助啊，其他这些东西，就是说，如果他们在你这个银行账单里头看到突然间有一个大批的钱进来你们的那个银行呢，他们也要知道这个钱是从哪里来的，是不是借的，拿的这些补助啊，是怎么来的这个钱，都是要解释一下的。
And the last one is cash. So like I mentioned, because there's a lot of clients that we work there where they keep a percentage of their revenue only in effective and they don't deposit into the bank statements. Not every lender can obviously take this into account, because there's no paper trail. They can actually see. At TMC Community Capital, we do take stated cash. So if say you tell us that you made a certain money and you keep it only effective to say maybe pay your workers, we can take a percentage of that into our application to consider it as revenue.
是最后那个呢，就是看你们的那个钱，你们的就是有的这个 cash，就是那个现金。那他们有时候如果看到不是在那个银行账单的呢，在里面有好像这个 Venmo、这个 Square 这些 app 上面的呢，如果看到呢，他们有时候也可以就是也可以算这个当你的收入，所以就是看你有没有这个能力来还这个债。
Yeah, and like John was saying, if you have other platforms like Venmo or Square, we can also accept those.
Yes， 如果刚才他就是说，如果有 Venmo 啊，有 Square 啊，看到我们这个最后一部分，如果有 Venmo 有 Square 这个呢，他们也会去看这个当你是有收入的。
And so now we move on to the third C, collateral, which was mentioned in the beginning. This will depend on the lender, but it is just whether you can guarantee or can help secure the loan that you are applying for. There's going to be different cases. It can be seen in different forms, whether it be the title to your automobile, real estate to your house, some sort of equipment that you purchase for your business, a merchandise, or an inventory from there.
那下一个这个 C 呢，就是 collateral， 那个 collateral 就是抵押品。抵押品的原因就是做一个保证，一个安全，因为他们借你钱嘛，那他们也要一个保证，一点安全，就是说 OK， 你还不了这个钱呢，他们就可能会要拿你的这个你放出来做保证，这个安全的这个东西，通常是你的车啊，你的屋子啊，你的可能买的这些很贵的这些设备啊，这些东西。
Yeah, and so like I mentioned, collateral is going to be different for every lender. Some are going to require it in order to provide the loans. Other ones might be a case-by-case basis. At TMC Community Capital, for example, we do not require collateral. The only case where we would need it is if you're using the funds to buy a food truck for your business or just a vehicle that you need. But it has to be for the business. We would take the title of that until you pay off the loan.
OK， 那就是每一个贷方呢，就是要不要抵押品，或者要哪一种抵押品呢，都是通常是不一样的。那他刚才就说，在 TMC Community Capital 他们这个地方呢，通常是不用这个抵押品的，所以他们就是除了如果是你是要买一个那个 food truck， 就是好像说那个可以开车来卖吃的那种东西，或者是要买一个车啊这种东西的时候呢，你们是贷款是做这样的事呢，他们通常就会要你拿一个抵押品出来。
And then capital is the next C. This one is very important for startup businesses. So for this one, it's just what we refer to as capital injection. When you're applying for a startup, lenders want to know how much have you already invested into your own business, whether it be through your own savings, through maybe friends and families that helped you. It speaks on how much you believe on your business, you're growing your business, that you've already started it, you've injected this money, and you believe that it can grow from there.
OK， 那这个呢就是 capital， 这个就是收入，那就是看你自己放了多少钱进去。他们通常如果看见你自己也放了很多够的钱呢，就是看起来也好，因为就是说你自己也很相信你这个生意。
And different lenders will have different requirements. Certain percentages may be asked for if you're applying for a loan, say for 100K, and they're going to ask you either for a down payment or you to pay a certain percentage of that in order to receive all of the funds for your business.
所以呢，每一个贷方都是通常是不一样的，可是他们就是一定要看到你放的那个钱，就是看他们就是每一个贷方就是想看到的那个号码是不一样的。
Capital. And then the last C is going to be conditions. This one is pretty broad-ended, but it's just be aware of what the general economic conditions are in the world related to your business. And what I mean by that is look at what industry you're in and compare it to like the conditions, whether it be like maybe everything is really high in inventory right now, so it's going to be higher prices for things. One example we give is if a restaurant was to come to a lender during COVID and would have said, I need 50K to open up my restaurant, chances are, yeah, they wouldn't be approved because no restaurants were open. So just look at the conditions around you of the industry research to know if you have higher chances of getting the loan, and it can be through your business plan where you can inform them and just let what is the right lender for you.
那这个最后一个就是那个条件，就是看你这个条件，就是看你整个这个经济情况啊这些东西。那他就给你一个例子，就是好像说，如果是在这个疫情的时候呢，如果有一个人来到 TMC Community Capital 这个地方，给他们说，嘿，我想拿5万块来开一个餐馆。他们通常如果是在那个情况呢，是不会。就是在那个条件的时候，就是不会借这个钱给他们来开这个餐馆，因为在那个疫情的时候呢，是根本都没有餐馆是能开着的，所以如果他们把这个5万块钱借出去呢，那就是有很大的可能你这个生意就不成功嘛，所以他们就是这方面就是看你们这些条件好像经济的条件那些东西。Good.
So yeah, those are the 5 C's on how you can better understand how to apply for your business, what you should be paying attention when applying, what documents you should be getting ready, whether this be like your tax returns, bank statements, or a business plan if you're a startup. Now I'm going to be speaking a little bit about our own criteria. So TMC Community Capital's our requirements, our eligibility to apply for a microloan with us.
I'm gonna turn it here real quick, but actually no. So 他们就是现在就会说一下，他们如果 TMC Community Capital 这方面，他们如果要做贷款的时候呢，他们通常会要看一些是哪一些是最重要的东西。
And so our eligibility, just 3 things. 1, you have to be a for-profit business in California, so we don't do nonprofits. 2nd is we do require at least 12 months in operation and generating revenue, so we don't do startup loans. If you are a startup, because we've gotten clients who are, we just refer them to somebody, our partners who can do startups to help them. And we have also certain excluded industries that we can't do loans for, adult entertainment, cannabis, rideshare, real estate, car rental.
OK， 所以他们如果借不借这个钱给你呢，做不做这个贷款呢？通常他们只看这3样东西。第一个呢，你就是一定要是在加州做的，那这个生意是一定是 for profit 是赚钱，不可以是好像那些 non-profit 的。然后第二个呢，就是你一定要开了最少是有12个月的。
We also don't have a minimum FICO score like I mentioned earlier. How we look at credit is within the most. So we do pool credit. Our loans are personally guaranteed. What we look at is within the most recent 2 years, have payments been on time? What is the utilization rate? Everything we discussed. If we do say that there was a late payment, that doesn't mean there's a denial. We will reach out and try to get an explanation from you.
OK， so 刚才我也忘了说呢，他们就是说他们这个 TMC Community Capital 这方面呢，不会做那些贷款是那些给如果还没有开始做生意的那方面的那些是，如果你是要做这样的贷款呢，他们就会介绍你去其他家的，让他们这部分呢就是这个不会看你这个，他们就是好像刚才说呢，没有这个最低那个信用的，他们不理这部分。And could you fill in a little bit more about so I did say that you guys don't have a minimum FICO score, but what was like maybe the latter portion?
So if we underpayment when we pull it we look at the most recent 2 years in their credit, and if they have late payments on there, say maybe like 2 or 1 in those recent 2 years, that's not a denial. We will try to work with them, get an explanation.
Okay. So 他们就是没有这个看你那个信用多低的，他们就可能会看你这个最近2个月、3个月的这些你这些账单这些东西上看什么时候如果你就算有1次2次就是给钱的时候给迟了呢，他们有时候都会跟你好好的就是跟你们说一下，了解一下为什么是这样，然后就也会跟你们通常也会跟你们做的。
And we also accept ITIN businesses. So those that don't have a SSN, they can still apply with us for any amount from 5,000 to 50,000.
那如果你们就是没有这个安全号码的这个 Social Security 呢，他们也会收你们的这个 ITIN 这种号码，就是也可以做这个5000块钱到5万块的。
And this is our loan products. So this is what we offer. We have it split into 2 different products. The first one being our microloan light. This is for smaller loans from 5,000 to 15,000. Our interest is 6 to 7% fixed. 12 to 36 months is the terms, and that's what it's kind of linked. So at 7%, it's 36 months, and at 12 or 24 months, it's at 6%.
对，那他们就是有这2个产品，第一个呢就是这个 Micro Loan Light，那个就是5000块钱到15000的这种，通常就是看你们也可以看到就是12到36个月，那个信用呢就是6到7个，然后他们的这个加工费就是5%。
For this smaller loans and documentation, we only ask for 6 months of bank statements because, like I mentioned, we rely a little bit more on bank statements that show that true revenue versus tax returns, but also because we know that maybe a lot of people don't have the tax assets available.
那做这个的时候呢，他们就通常会看你们最近这个6个月的这个银行账单，好像我们刚才在说的时候呢，他们通常不会看， 也会看，可是不会理你那个报税那个多过那个银行账单，因为这个呢就可以让他们看到那个更准确的资料。
And then the second loan product is a microloan. This is for higher amounts above 15,000 all the way to 50, our max. For this one, the interest does increase to 9%, so 6 to 9% fixed, and that's just because we also offer higher terms at 5 years or 4 years. So 5 years is 9%, 4 years is 8%.
OK，所以这个下一个这个产品呢，就是可以如果要借多一点的这个，那这个就是15000到这个5万块的这个，那通常是从12个月到60个月的。
And for this one, we do ask for 1 year of tax returns. If you don't have that available, we also ask for a profit and loss statement, along with the 6 months of bank statements.
那这个呢，好像我们刚才那个他们只是要那个6个月的那个银行账单，可是这个呢，就是要1年的那个你那个1年的报税表，还有再加上要那个6个月的那个银行账单。
Yeah. And from any loan that you apply with this, we do take a 5% processing fee. That is taken from the loan funds itself. So if you're applying for 15K, you will only receive about 14,000 or so, if I'm doing the corrections right, or 5% of that will be taken out from the funds. You don't have to pay anything upfront.
So 他们呢，就是做哪一些这些呢？就是帮你们做这些产品呢，这些他们都会收这个5%的这个加工费。那这个加工费呢，是从你们借的这个钱拿出来的。好像说你们要借5000块钱，他们就会拿5%；借5万块钱是5%，不是说你要从你自己就是你们就是申请的时候要给的钱。
So.
Okay.
So yeah, that's the presentation. If you guys are interested in applying for us or learning more, you can look at our website. The link to apply is also there, or you can be connected to our partners. So that's how we can also work, and they can connect us with them and they can apply through them or call us directly.
Okay, and we're about to start our next workshop on creating financial projections, but we do have one question. I'll just ask it real quick. If you can, I'm just going to ask one of them. It's what's the significance of my business plan in the loan approval process?
Yeah, so the significance of your business plan, like we went a little bit over in one of the C's, which is character, is going to depend on the lender you're going for and the type of business that is applying. So obviously it's going to be a lot more significant for a startup because that's the only sort of document that they can show to show their experience, talk about themselves as an individual, what experience they have in the industry, how much they believe that their company, their business is going to grow, and the projections. So it is going to be significant more for companies that are applying for startup capital versus other ones that have already been operating, since we at TMC Community Capital only do operating businesses and we do not require a business plan.
Okay, so 我们刚才就是问，如果你们想做这个贷款的时候呢，你们有没有这个商业计划是多重要？那都就是说，通常呢有没有这个商业计划也是看你是去哪里贷款做这个贷款，也是看他们要不要这个。那如果说 TMC Capital 他们通常是不需要这个商业计划的，因为他们就是不会做这些还没有开始做生意的那种贷款的。可是如果你是一个 startup， 是还没有开始做那个，你是一个启动贷方呢，你就是还没开始这种小企业，那你通常是要有一个这个商业计划，因为他们不知道你们准备要做的这些东西，所以他们一定要有这个资料才能做一个好的这个主意。所以如果你们没有一个这个商业计划呢，你们也可以跟我约个时间，我们也可以帮你做好一个这个。Okay, seems like we can go over a little. We're going to ask one more question. Next question we can ask, let's just, how does the length of time my business has been operating affect my chances of getting a loan? And let me just ask it in Chinese real quick. So 我如果在这个生意做了多久，会好像我们操作了多久，会怎么影响我拿不拿得到这个贷款？
Similar, probably answer is it'll depend on the lender. This is also tied to character. So it's when you're applying, we want to know how long you've been operating. Say if you want to open a restaurant, telling us that you have already worked in a restaurant 10 years prior counts as experience. Even though it's not your business, you have this experience through the industry already, you have the skills for it. So that is very important. obviously, also, so you just want to be upfront when I mentioned, it's like when I mentioned about the LLC. So if you have an LLC, also consider the time prior to that, because it's still experience and time you were operating your business.
Okay, so 他刚才就是说你们在这个生意是做了有多久是很重要的，好像我们刚才说的这个5个C 的这个特点的时候，所以他们好像如果刚才说你们如果一开始做这个生意的时候是 sole prop，就是那个私人的，可是变成那是有2年在那个地方，可是你们变成 LLC，那在这部分呢，你们有了3年，可是有时候你们只算你们这个 LLC 的这个3年，所以他就是说这部分都是要加起来的，所以呢，他们就是衡你这部分，然后所以他们要看你就是在这个行业里头有多少经验，所以他们才能做到一个好的主意。